I don't know. It's I love the culture here on Twitch. But yeah, it's wonderful to have you, Mr. DJ Bobby Payne. It's great. So just so you're welcome to Bridge the Gap. My name is Holden Stephan Roy, and this is basically the show where we talk to interesting people such as yourself, and we just walk through your life, and through your journey, we extract the knowledge nuggets of your experiences, and it helps enhance all of our collective knowledge and understanding. I mean, you're a dude that is actively pursuing your craft to this day. You've been around, people have heard of you. Yeah. Therefore, you must be an interesting person worth knowing more about. You know, like, they're just the facts of a situation. Okay. Anybody that can stay in the game. Sorry?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. No, I hear what you're saying. I just hope I remember all this stuff.
Don't even worry. We do this in a particular way, and it greases it up and gets everything going. It's going to be fine and wonderful. How about this, though? You let us know, just for the first real question. It helps us if you can tell us where you're from, like where you were born.
I was born in Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
Awesome. Which part of Montreal are you from?
You mean currently or
like back then?
Because I've lived in different places.
When you was like super little.
Oh, Côte de Neige.
Awesome. So why it matters is because we got the first real question, and it is a little bit of a story. What's up, Sun Dragon? What's up, Willie? What's up, Ismail? We got people tuning in. So the first question's a bit of a story.
That cheese.
And when the question lands, you can take it in whatever direction you want, but it's going to help get the ball rolling properly. So it starts with my girlfriend, and she's washing the dishes, and she's got her phone, and she's playing this Black Eyed Peas song, the I Got a Feeling, ooh, and she's dancing, and she's doing her thing. And I'm sitting there watching her, and I'm like, hold on a second. This song is chores music. It's the shit people wash dishes and work out to now. But when you really think about that song, and as a DJ you would probably notice 10 years ago, this shit's that like club banger that has drunk people all over dancing in circles and doing all kinds of wild shit, right? And I thought that was just so nifty how you have this song that one time in life is like the pinnacle of club music, and then 10 years later is now the pinnacle of chores music. The very same song.
Oh, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. We could play that now and still turn up the place. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on how you drop it in.
For sure.
Right?
That's where your expertise comes in. But for the average person, most of us aren't going to the clubs no more. We're taking that same energy to the chores, to the gyms. So that's why, like, for us, it kind of turns into chores music, because that's what we go to. We go back to that active music 10 years ago to get us in the vibe to go do these more mundane tasks in our lives. So yeah, absolutely. You go to any wedding and you throw that song on, the whole room's going to turn up. Absolutely. It's
yeah, definitely a wedding.
It's hit.
That's definitely a wedding track.
But it just got me thinking about music, though, and how music changes. How one time it's a young person, 21-year-old party song, and now it's like a locked-in wedding vibe. You know, like the vibe changes and everything changes about music as the whole world kind of goes on. But that got me thinking about how songs are kind of on journeys, right? That means the people who contribute to the scene also have their own musical journeys that also evolve, and they change over time. Now, the thing about our own musical journeys is most of us start talking about it at like adolescence, when we get into music, when we start to form our identity and attach ourselves to different things. But really, all this starts like way earlier, like as early as anybody can even remember. So as an example, when I'm like super fucking young up in like Cool St. Luke and shit, my dad's got these gray boxes. These like amp and the radio and the tape deck and the next one, and they were all connected together going to the speakers, and he'd be busting his Led Zeppelins, and at night there was the 90s club music that was banging on Montreal's Mix 96 and shits, and all these different vibes started getting created around my home and my environment based on what my parents were listening to before I had any control of it. My mom liked musicals and freaking discos and stuff, and the car had its own sounds and all these different things. So I realized that for a lot of us, it really starts there with the environments that surrounds us. So I was hoping if you could bring us back to when you were like the youngest DJ Bobby Payne that you can remember, And tell us a little bit about what it sounded like to be you, what the family vibes were, what the environment played, the technologies that were available, and just kind of walk us through some of your earliest memories of music.
My earliest memories of music, or playing music, or being part of a.
Being just when you were
Okay,
like
earliest
earliest,
memories
like before you were a
as a
DJ or
DJ.
any, nah, like a kid, like super young, like you're up in Cote
As a
Neige
kid,
and your parents or whoever was around and they were vibe. What was it like to be young that birthed this like beginning of you?
well, okay, so I'm obviously my background is Jamaican, right?
Mm.
That's West Indian, you know. Uh, the culture was, we were very party oriented, you know. Um, I remember being in weddings, you know, at like maybe 6 7 years old, you know, waiting for mom to bring me to bring us home, you know, or sleeping, or I fell asleep at the party, or whatever the case was. But like, I've always been around music. My mother and my mother's husband used to play music all the time, you know, like constantly. It's always like reggae music, you know, lovers rock, conscious music, one drop tunes, you know. Um, so like probably around like 5 6 7 years old, I really started learning or being conscious of music.
Yeah, that's
You know what I'm saying?
interesting. So basically, you had a lot of people
Um,
playing music in your family, a lot of party oriented stuff, and when you were
oh yeah,
around,
like everybody, everywhere I went, people were playing music. Anywhere I went, like in Jamaica as well, like anywhere you go, music is playing. Like everywhere. Like there's music in taxis, there's music, and not just on the radio. Like they have big sound systems playing. Like if you go to, like, let's say a little store in Jamaica, you're gonna hear some music like beating, like loud, like it's a party. You know, it's always that vibe. I've always been around a party vibe. To tell you the honest truth, you know.
okay.
So I really enjoy. I really enjoy that music that makes you move. You know.
So when you were like really young, did you get into like dancing? Were you like just a fan of the music? Like how ingratiated into it were
No, I
you
was
as
just
a young one? Sorry?
as a young person. I was just no. I just heard it. I just listened to it. I was just keen to it. I liked what I like, and that's what it was. You know.
So like as you get a little bit older, when do you start to like really get into music and be like this is more a thing that I want to pursue? Like what do you remember some of your first like favorite artists that were like your favorite artists, less so than the people playing music around you?
My favorite artists. Um, I just love music, man. Like, okay. Growing up, reggae music was something I loved. Okay, so anything reggae or dancehall, I should say, whatever it was, I loved it. Like, Spraga Benz, he's a dancehall artist. Loved him. You know, Bounty Killer. Loved that guy. It was vibes. I really love dancehall. I love dancehall and reggae music till probably like 16 17. But before that too, I used to listen to rock music, heavy metal, because
Yeah, it's
I
nifty.
we we we, we moved to the suburbs. So what do you have in the suburbs? A lot of white kids, right? Coordinate was more Coordinate was more West Indian,
Right.
you know, just different ethnicities, you know. But in Shadigi, I moved to Shadigi when I was around maybe 7 6 7 8, you know. And I used to listen to a lot of Pet Shop Boys. Uh, I used to listen to a lot of Metallica, ACDC, red yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Right.
you know, Bon Jovi, a lot of Bon Jovi, you know. So like that's the type of music I used to listen to. Like I remember buying my first cassette. Actually, my first cassette I actually bought was even a Beastie Boys cassette.
Nice. So back in the day,
Yeah,
you would buy cassettes. How okay? Aside of just buying cassettes, how did you, when you were like young, get your new music? Like, what was the? Because like this is a part that a lot of people find interesting. Multiple generations watch this shit, right? So you get to a point where like a young person's on YouTube. I was on the internet, etc., and radios. And how did you get to know the new musics in your life outside of your parents and whatnot, your family? When you got to schools or whatever, what was the way I guess you discovered new music?
radio, radio, or whatever. Let's say I go to someone's house and they'll be playing some different stuff, and I'll be like, "What is that?" But that's the only way. Like we used to live in, we used to go live. We used to, we had a lot of family in New York, so we used to go to New York a lot. So I'd hear new music over there too as well, you know.
What was it like in New
Uh,
York?
but crazy, beautiful, amazing. This atmosphere is just like I'm more of a city guy rather than a rural a suburb guy, you know.
Right.
Like I like traffic, I like noise, I like sounds, I like action, you know.
Yeah. That's relatable.
So so yeah, so I mean, in terms of new music, it's just whatever I heard, I just heard, you know. If I heard it before everybody else, I heard it before everybody else. I wasn't really like, okay, that's new music. Just, you know, whatever I heard, I liked, and I would just like that, you know, off the radio, CQT, used to listen to that a lot, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty
So,
much like that.
and were you like making mixtapes and all this stuff when you were young? Like like downloading with the tape and the dubbing your own stuff.
I take them from I'll take them from my friends, you
So
know.
they would do
I
that.
never really made a mixtape, or I record a DJ playing on a radio, or whatever, and that's how I'd get some music, you know.
Right.
Or if, when I went to Jamaica, there was a lot of mixtapes selling on the street. Even in Brooklyn, a lot of mixtapes were selling on the street, you know.
So you just stock up and then. So it's nifty because like most of the people I talk to are like, bro, I'm a rapper. I heard that shit and I gotta study that shit and I gotta become that shit. And you're like, yeah, I just heard what I liked and it was great. I like the party vibes.
Yeah.
It's cool to see the just different energy that you bring to the table with it.
Okay. Yeah.
So like when you were young, did you have any desire to create music?
No. No. I really when I was younger, I was just really into sports, you know.
Mm,
I was into sports. I was a cub. I was a scout. You know, like
nice.
I was doing all those different types of stuff. You know,
Yeah.
but I wasn't really into like I listened to music. I heard music. I liked music, but I wasn't like, yeah, music is my life.
Right.
Understand?
Yeah. It was just you doing life things and music was a part of it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um,
Music only became a necessity when I was like maybe I would say around 22, 23.
so what makes you decide?
Like where I said, yeah, okay.
So like what leads to this decision? How do you go from I'm super into sports and whatnot to yo I'm gonna go be DJ Bobby Payne?
Okay, DJ Bobby Payne came way after though, but
Fair, or at least to start the DJ world or whatever you
but
got into.
I was a baller, you know. I used to play ball.
Okay.
Okay. I was a baller. I got
Wait.
injured. I got injured and I couldn't ball like I used to.
Mm,
So whatever. So but I used to whatever. I used to go to parties, a lot of parties, different parties. Um, and I love just the vibe. I just love just the vibe. You're in a party, you're dancing, and you know you're picking up women, and them vibes. Those that attracted me to the whole party scene. And then one day I was in a party and I was listening to a DJ. The DJ's name is Quite Sing,
Mm.
and he was mixing, and I was like, "Yo, it'd be dope if he mixed this track with what was coming up." And he actually did it like live, like it actually came in at the time when I said, "Okay, yeah." And the track he mixed it was Jay-Z, Get Your Hands Up. I think that's what it's called. Anyways, that was a track I was like, yo, he should mix it with this and the place is going to go crazy. And he did it and the place went crazy. Right? And that's when I was like, yo. And then like there's other tracks I was like, yo, if you played this track, and he played them. You understand? And I was just looking at the crowd reaction. I was like, yo, I could do this.
Mm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was hip hop. I wasn't really a hip hop head. I wasn't really. I was more of a dancehall reggae guy, And I was just thinking, if I could select music like that, then I could be a DJ, But I was more of the kind of guy who, okay, let me go back.
Do it.
When I used to play ball, we used to have road trips, and I used to pretend I had a mic, and I'd be, let's say, music would be playing. I would pretend like to intro the music,
Oh, cool.
So I used to feel like I was a Mike's man because I used to listen to sound clashes on tape, and I used to hear these guys talk and intro songs.
Hold on, what's this?
It was like a competition. Sound clashes with a competition between two DJs, and they'd play dub plates, and dub plates are like 45s, whatever. And each song would have a specific song or a specific remix to disrespect the other sound. You understand? And the guy who used to talk on the mic was what I was interested in. I liked the whole talking on the mic and bringing the energy to give that record even more energy. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because music is energy, right?
Yeah. No, I hear you. But
So
go on.
I feel like that was my calling at that point. You understand? So fast forward now to when I was playing, I was at that party listening to Quite Sane. I used to always go out with like a couple of guys, all the time. We go to different parties and be like, yo, if the man were to play this, it would turn over the place. People would go crazy. So I'd always be like, always thinking of what to play all the time. Understand? So that's what brought me and three other guys to create a sound called Digital Movements. Right? So that was our group. And we actually we were taking music from what's that? Shit. I just lost it. Back in the days, used to steal music.
Napster?
Like you said, download Napster.
Yeah.
So I used to get a ton load of music from Napster, right? We all used to get it. And we would clash each other from like we'd bring our hard drive and another man would bring his hard drive and we'd clash each other like that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
so I would introduce the song. And I just play the track, and that's how we'd battle each other. You understand?
So y'all were doing versus battles back in the day.
With our hard drive.
Yo, that's serious. I really like that.
You understand?
Yo, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and you guys would like, you would do this at parties. Or you would do this like at home, just kind of like together.
No. This would be in our base. This would be in our basement, though. This would be in our basement. Never in a party.
Right.
But whatever. We just love music, you know.
But still, even that, right? That's like a knowledge nugget right there. How do you get your game up as a DJ? How can you like practice and read some shits? Having basement fucking versus battles where you have to like one up the next man's song choice and shit to like perfect your set list.
Exactly. By thinking what to play after he played whatever, you know, just being on your toes. You understand?
Yeah, that's big. That's cool actually. Like I'm really into that.
That's what we used to do.
It's like rapping in the park with your boys.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly it. So that's how we started, you know.
And when did you start this? Like what year, if you can remember approximately?
2000.
Shit.
Maybe 99. Maybe 99.
Yeah, man.
99.
See, man, there's 20 years.
2000 was when we started to get gigs.
Okay. So 2000 is when it went from we trying to do this thing to we getting paid to do this thing. Or at least opportunities to do this thing, but we don't paid, maybe not. I don't know. I actually don't know how it works in the DJ world like that. But fine, you're performing as of 2000.
Yeah.
What's the music scene like in 2000? Keep in mind, I'm in like grade 6, 7 at this point, so I'm very disconnected from the Montreal nightlife.
No, that's when crunk music started blowing up. That's when crunk music, like, it was crunk time, like down south stuff, you know, like just some like I said, I was with a group called Digital Movements, and we were probably the first DJs to play CDs.
Okay.
Like we had a Newmark mixer and they had a CD deck, and we were probably the first, definitely in Quebec. I don't know about like on, but definitely in Quebec or Montreal. Let's say Montreal, playing CDs. So what that advantage gave us is that we heard new music, right? And we get it right away. We could hear that brand new, like, okay, this is a time when Little John was coming up, you know?
Right.
So we'd hear new music, whether it be dancehall, reggae, we'd have it first before anybody, because everybody was playing records.
Like vinyls.
You understand?
So basically,
vinyls. Exactly.
So basically, everyone else has to wait for the hot to get pressed, to get put out. They'd be able to get it from that special DJ store that people talk about that is there. And then you, on the other hand, are like, yo, let me go download that shit, pop it onto a burnt disc, pop it in, ready to go same day almost.
Same day. Right?
Yeah, that's a huge advantage.
So, yeah, but it wasn't looked at as DJing. I feel back then it was frowned upon, like you're cheating, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I quite literally know what you're saying because I've talked to DJs and I've talked to a whole bunch of people. So yeah, the people who are into the scratching and the vinyls and from this culture that was built upon, like at that point, 3 decades of et cetera, and then the CD comes out and it changes the whole game. You know, like I as a consumer of the dance floor, don't give two shits personally how y'all do your things, but I can understand as an artist exactly why people felt the way about that. Whether or not it's justified.
Right? Because we definitely weren't paying for it, right? That too. Like these guys were the DJs ahead, like before us were paying for their albums, right?
Right.
We were not paying for anything. We had Napster, we had all the rest of it, right? We were just getting music and a lot of it. So where a DJ would come and play, let's say 50 records, we could play 200 tracks in the same
Right.
party.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Because there's no like flip around. You just keep it running smooth. Hell, you don't even have to be
Just
there at a
keep it
certain point.
moving.
You could go take a pee break and just hit play, and it's all good.
No, 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 no. We have to
Okay.
physically be there to mix the
Right, right,
tracks.
right, right, right.
That's
I'm not.
you know.
I don't know that
But
much
I'm
about
just
being a
saying,
DJ.
we were very energetic them times, you know. So we weren't waiting for the next. We were shooting music. We was playing music. Like I don't know. Like you watch me. Like sometimes I don't let songs breathe. I just play it. You get a hook, and that's it. And the next track is coming in. You get me?
Yeah.
So so yeah. So that was pretty much the vibe, you know. So I feel like that was our struggle, like you know, fitting in, you know.
Yeah, I can understand what that is. So you're
That's our
basically saying, and in 2000, y'all came through with this new way of DJing because you didn't have to do the same things the old guys did. I mean, listening for the right cues, and you could just kind of curate the shit based
no,
on.
you still
Oh, do you still have
no
to do
no
all
no.
that?
You still had to listen to the right.
Okay.
Yeah, you still had to do all of that. Like you had to, like you like it wasn't even like you see now how you could cue music and have your different cues on certain tracks.
Yeah.
Back then, you still had to listen to the music and bring it in on like on the right, you know, on the right beat. You know what I'm saying? You
Okay.
still had to DJ.
Okay. So you started to do all
It's just
this.
you didn't have record. Yeah.
All right. So it's just
Sorry, you know, I skipped a lot. I skipped a lot.
no.
So
This
in
is
high
great,
school,
man. This is the show.
in
This is
high
what we
school,
do.
before this, in high school, I learned to actually play on records in high school from a DJ. His name is DJ Storm,
Mm.
right? Yo, big up DJ Storm. He's the reason why I know how to play on vinyl. So I knew how to play on vinyl before CDs. You understand? But it was a huge gap between that time and when we started playing. Understand?
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah. So yeah. Sorry, like my
No,
mind is all like
you're doing wonderful, man. This is super entertaining.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So in the 2000s, that's when crunk music was coming out. Not a lot of people knew it, but a lot of people knew it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know, because again, like, and this is my perspective, right? I'm always that DJ that wants to, or that person who wants to hear that new sound. You understand? I'm always, I get bored easily of hearing the same thing over and over again. So I used to feel like Montreal was playing the same stuff over and over and over again. Okay? So
Right.
us coming in the game, we were like, we don't want to be like that. We want to be fresh. We want to play the hottest record. We want to play what's playing in New York. We want to play what's playing in Georgia. We want to play what's playing in LA. We want to play what's playing in the UK at this time. We don't want to play what everybody else is playing. You understand?
Yeah.
So that was the culture I was brought up on.
I respect
You know what I'm
that.
saying?
No, I get it because
So
I mean, in a lot of ways, a lot of even trying to get people to come on Twitch is a relatable cause to trying to do something new in the music game. All right, so trying to get people to come on Twitch, I
Right.
empathize so heavy with you because
Right.
because it's new, and it's like
and Twitch it's a great platform for anybody. And I'm
yeah,
talking anybody, like people who don't even think they could be on the platform. They could just come up with an idea, but just and create it on Twitch, and then get followers. You understand what I'm saying?
you can legitimately knit, just like
And
fucking knit, and you could probably get a following, just like fucking make clothes and shit, you know, like anything on Twitch.
bro, if a female wants to, she could just eat fruit on Twitch and get subs like crazy.
That's the truth of it, though.
That's some no, but it's real. It's real.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. Like, yo, like it's that easy, but people don't realize how easy it is unless they do it, right?
yeah.
Like, and that just goes for everything, right? That just goes for everything in life, right? It's either you just have to do it,
But it's also,
you know.
being willing to embrace the change and to embrace the new things, like to embrace the new CD DJ tech when it was new tech requires some desire to like play with the new toys rather than stick with the comfortable toys. And that like way of thinking is fascinating. It definitely is more prevalent in youthful folk, but in a lot of ways Twitch is that for a lot of us. Like even this, like it's like doing an interview on Twitch is in and of itself, it's as abstract to people as saying the DJ. At least there's a lot of y'all DJs doing it now. So y'all have like normalized the DJ thing on Twitch, the interview thing on Twitch. It's like, nah, it's not there yet. there's not a lot of us yet. So it's like, how do you explain it to folk?
But that's good. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. You know, it's better. It's better. You're at the forefront. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, big ups Preach though. Preach and
rather than
he's the guy who kicked my ass into doing this here and focusing on Twitch.
Yo, I understand. I get you. But for real, like it's you just have to get up and do it, man.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, so like if you go back to then, so you're in like the early 2000s, the crunk music's taking over, you're trying to play the hottest new stuff, you're leveraging the new tech, and you're having a little bit of a hard time fitting into the scene because you're doing a bunch of new shit. So what else is happening in your life? Like, how does the story progress for you as you guys are in the digital movement playing the shows? Are you guys getting booked a lot? Like, how's it going with that?
We're getting booked a whole lot. We were getting booked at Concordia parties, and again, we were really good, right? And those times, I wasn't the one spinning the music. I was the one talking on the mic, and also at times selecting the music. You know,
Okay.
So I'd select the music, give it to the person who's mixing, and I'd talk the mic, and I'd intro the music, and boom, you know. There was like at that time there was 5 of us actually.
So what are all the roles in the DJ crew then? Because I didn't even think about the fact that there'd be a person that's a hype man. Just that's your job. You're like that's what you do on the performance.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. Okay, what?
Yeah, well back then they always had a hype man, right? Like there's always a hype man and the DJ would spin the music, right? With digital, I was the one who would sometimes build sets, and I would talk on the mic. There's another person who would download music, and there's another guy who would spin music. You get what I'm saying?
Right. So everybody just had a role to ensure that it worked.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah. So yeah, digital was we were working again. Like our advantage is that we had that new music, so people enjoyed the fact that we weren't afraid to play new music. You get what I'm saying? That's one thing. We were very fearless. You know, as a DJ, I think all DJs should be fearless. You know what I'm saying? just to introduce new music and break records. You know what I'm saying?
Were you playing a lot of Montreal music back then, or was there a whole bunch that you had
Back then we didn't have. Remember, Napster wasn't. Nobody was putting their Montreal people were not putting their music on the web. You know what I'm saying?
So it made it harder for you to be able to just connect to it like that.
Exactly. So we had problem. We weren't able to get music from Montreal artists sometimes.
Were you able to, like, so what, how long
it's only recently.
So like,
sorry.
So yeah, during this era, how long do you run this digital movement crew with? Like, how long does this last for? Is it?
Digital movement still exists.
Oh, fresh.
I'm just not a part of it. You know, but yeah, we were doing it for a very long time. We were really we also were crowned soca monarchs of Montreal, the soca kings of Montreal.
Okay.
Like we were playing soca is a genre of it's West Indian music, up tempo mostly. You know?
I know what soca is now, but was soca not like a particularly hot thing back then? Like, I don't know the context of being the soca king.
Oh yeah, it was. It was definitely. No. It was definitely a hot thing back then. It's only now it's even more. It's people are taking it in more because I'm sure you hear it when you come in my streams.
I hear it.
Maybe you don't know if it's soca or not.
No, I've gotten okay. I can't like fully identify it, soca, but I have started to be better with it because I watch a few of you do your things and you just play it, and I'm like, yo, you know what? In these days, I want to dance and have some fun times with the music. I'm not as interested. I don't know if I need to hear about misery right now. I'm okay with like just that fun shit. So so I noticed that you were all playing these vibes, and I noticed that there's all these emojis that the women throw of them twerking, and I thought that was I never saw a guy throw one, and I thought that was serious. I was like, wait, so they're digitally representing the twerking actions. I was on Blaster's stream watching this go down, and I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I spent 30 minutes watching women throw twerk emotes at Blaster, and that was the stream. And I'm like, that was a whole experience.
That's lit. But back then, obviously, there was no Twitch. Back then, they're actually twerking on you. You understand?
Okay.
You know, these parties, soca parties. But yeah, so we were crowned soca king. So accolade, very proud of. We played in New York. We played in Albany, New York. Played to many clubs in Montreal. I mean, there was a point though where, so like around 2010, we weren't getting booked as much. You understand?
Yeah.
Because I still think it's politics. Whatever. So we started to throw our own parties, like put ourselves on.
Right.
Understand? So in doing that, I created DJ Bobby Payne.
Okay. So what did you go as before? What was your moniker before DJ Bobby Payne?
Larrington Whisper.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's a good name. Yo, he's one of those ones that just stands the fuck out. Like, it has personality and everything.
You know, Larrington Whisper, you know, because it just felt like a real clash name, like a real yardy name, you know, and then my voice is very deep and Whisper just, you know, it just made sense, you know.
Right. I mean, I like it. I like it. So you did this thing for a decade
Yeah,
before you started doing the parties. So you guys ran that for a decade that you were involved with them. And
yeah,
throughout this time, you're basically watching the entire industry kind of like change in Montreal, right? Like this is kind of
yeah.
the birth. Yeah.
From records to CDs. The thing we started
Mm.
in Montreal. You know what I'm saying? And um and yeah, man. Um yeah, and then all the way to
Are you still there? Okay, there you're back. It froze for a second.
sorry.
Um, so yeah, I guess I was. Were you guys also like involved with watching the local scene come to life, or like? Because I know by 2010 there's a bit of a local scene going on at that point for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But I was more like I was like Black Coke.
Yeah, I know him.
Um
I know them.
yeah, that's like my cousin and a couple of other guys that I know from Shadigi. Big up Teflon, Fly Dough, Prince Akeem, One Shot. You don't know, man. That man's there, you know? Um Teflon was a artist in Montreal that was crazy ahead of his time, you know. I used to play him a lot, but that was my family,
Right.
right? And yeah, man. So in terms of locally, that's what I used to play a lot of, and a couple of guys in a couple of guys in Cotonou as well, you know.
Was it like a thing that DJs did to play local people, or was it more the norm to not play local people?
You know what? I'm more of a person that I wasn't. I'm more of a person that if the music feels good, I'm gonna play it.
Right.
You know, it doesn't matter where it came from. Is that if it feels good and I feel like this is the time to fit it in, I'm gonna play it. You understand? Like I'm not just gonna play local because it's local. I'm gonna play it because it's hot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So in the sense of making sure that regardless to what it is, your product or your performance has to be the most perfect thing it is. And if you'll find it local, it's here. If it's not, it's whatever you come across, as long as it's new, as long as it's hot, and it makes you happy with the vibe that you're looking for.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, that makes sense. I mean, I'm curious, right? Because I wasn't there. And then I talked to a lot of people from a lot of different vibes, and you'll hear rappers be like, "Oh, I know the DJs wanted to play my shit," or the people will say different things like that. So I'm like, I mean, you were there. I don't know how much you were involved in it. If you were doing your thing, that's cool. Some people do other things. Yo, what's up, Lamef? Thanks for the raid. But it's just interesting to like learn about this whole other pocket of even consideration, like just the idea of having to stay up to date with new music, just to be able to play fresh shit, just to be able to compete and have music out fastest. Like I don't think about that a lot. It's not the I'm the guy that was worrying about getting my albums and shit taken care of more so than like ever paying attention to like as much. Like I actually tried to keep up with a playlist of new music. Oh my gosh, it's the hardest thing in the world to like actively like
Oh,
learn how to do
now
this shit.
I think now is even it's worse. I think it's music comes out every day. Like you know, it's crazy. Like with dancehall, music used to come out constantly, right? And now I think that trend has touched every genre now. You know, like new music is coming out every day, and it's hot for like 1 week, or it's hot for like maybe 2 3 weeks, and then it's you can't play it no more, or it's
Hmm.
boring now. You know,
That's
but like
serious.
yeah, music right now is on a different type of vibe, man. It's hard to keep up with. As a DJ, I'm even talking. It's hard to keep up with you.
So yeah, how do you keep up with new music? Because personally, I'm just curious how somebody like you is able to stay in the know and keep up with new music.
Um, you want me to tell you something really crazy?
Sure.
Uh, I feel like I'm drawn to new music.
Okay.
Um, like I like obviously right. Okay, I don't know, like being in New York, whatever, listening to other DJs, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Um, that's how I know. That's how I keep up to date. Um, I just find stuff, you know, even and through meeting people, you know, um, through meeting people, I'll just hear some new stuff and be like, yo, what is that? You know, I'm never
Mm.
afraid to ask. I'm you know, if I hear something I like, I'll research the dude, see what other stuff he has out there, you know. Um, especially in this time, um, I don't think I look for new as I don't think I look for new music as much as I just want to play new sounding stuff. So I'm always just I'll play something that I haven't heard like I haven't heard, and it sounds good to me. I don't know if it's new. I just play it. You understand? Especially now, I just work off of vibes. Like, you know,
Yeah, that's super
like
nifty.
like I'm a real I work off a lot of energy and vibes. Like even when I play music, I'm not a especially on Twitch. I rarely build sets. Understand?
Yeah. So you just
I
kind of
just
freestyle your choices.
exactly. And whatever I just feel like, I'll play. I play to my mood.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that sounds
Which
smart.
is not which is not always a good thing because sometimes I feel aggressive, right? And that might scare away people. I don't know. But I play to my mood mostly.
So you're not really worried about what the crowd wants to hear. You're just gonna play what DJ Bobby Payne wants to play, and then the crowd will come.
I've never I am a type of person that wants to dictate what the crowd wants to hear.
Hmm. Okay, I like that.
But as well, but I would definitely give some sprinkle some crowd pleasers. You get me?
Yeah. I mean, it makes
But
sense.
I'm definitely that person that's not gonna take a request. You understand?
Yeah,
I'm not DJ. I'm not DJ that's like no, I don't take requests.
I
You know?
respect that. Request is a weird game to
Maybe
play
it's a
for me.
bad thing.
I don't know about that.
Ah,
We got a question though, just from DJ Magnanimous. Are you part of any record pools?
yes I am.
Okay, and what's a
Yeah,
record
I am.
pool? Because I don't know
Um
what the fuck that is.
record pool is you pay monthly for records for tracks that come out and they'll give you different edits. As a DJ, I think you should have edited music
And without
because
the cuss words?
you don't know who you're gonna play for. And yeah, exactly, right. I always tell people that should always, an artist should always have edited stuff because, like for instance, I play on a radio in Miami, and I can't play half of the stuff that I want to play, and to promote Montreal. Understand?
Yes, I do. That's a big one. Hold on. Can you, okay, break that down more just in case other people don't understand. This is what you're saying
Okay,
is really important.
I always advise uh, artists to make a clean edit of their track, because on certain radio you can't play it, right? You won't be able to play it. And there's DJs out there that actually want to push that music, but they can't. You know, I'm on an internet radio, and they're a licensed radio company, so I can't play dirty tracks. It has to be all edited.
Okay, I never thought about that. Like that was never in the consideration of me as an artist. Even I didn't even realize DJs were out there until Twitch. Like Twitch kind of showed me that like Montreal has like a fuck ton of DJs. I know it sounds like for you it must sound very bizarre, but I mean I just never went to clubs a lot. I'm not really that guy. So and I don't listen to a lot of radio. So it was like I'm on YouTube.
But you're a rapper. But you rap, right?
Yeah, and I met like
you have. Yeah, what am I saying?
But like
I know
rap,
you. I know
but,
you.
Like in the tier where like Mans is like got like there's a few DJs, but not like the party scene. Like I never really knew it existed. I just knew like a couple of guys who you could get to come to your show, and they would just play people's tracks, and they would stand in the back with their boards. And I even met like Shashu and a couple other people through hip hop karaoke. And so like I mean I'm cognizant DJs exist, but like I'm not cognizant DJs is out there being DJs. Like it's not really a thing I ever considered or thought about. I was never tracking it. So as a rapper, I cared about beat makers. I cared about YouTube. I cared about like SoundCloud. But you know what? I never thought about DJs back then. The only time I ever really noticed it was DJ Blaster on the radio, because he let me come on for an interview one time, and I made a fool of myself. Big mistake. I learned a big lesson there. But like, end of the day, like I just didn't know about any of it. I'm talking from 2012 until Twitch. I wasn't even really aware. Like I even met people. Like I worked with some of them, but like they would go to parties, and I don't know. I'm just probably not like the guy who goes to parties enough to like realize that. Like, cause we're gonna go back to your event company, that there's people like y'all that were doing it. Like, I learned what Mook Life was on this interview series. I didn't even know what the fuck Mook Life was. There was a whole thing here that everyone cared about, and I didn't know it existed until 2021, even though the stickers were there and shit. So what I know is a whole lot of rappers also don't know a whole lot of things, which is a serious thing. When we think about the fact that if we were like making more effort to like reach out to DJs and shit, I've honestly just been like, bro, no DJ's ever gonna play my shit. Even like in my head, I'm like, I don't know if I have a song a DJ would play.
You don't know. You know why? Because there's so much different settings for a DJ to play music.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? There's so much. It's not only the club. You're not only DJing in the club. You know, we're DJing at private parties, private events. Just people just want to chill and hear some music. You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, I know it now, but like, you don't think about it like that when you're like not aware that this is happening. You have to like almost become.
No, for sure. It's like artists who send me YouTube links when they want me to play their music. And I'm like, how am I supposed to play this?
Yeah, that's
like, why don't you send me the MP3? You know, or the WAV file. I don't understand. I don't get it.
But that's the thing.
It baffles. Like,
but it's like there's this whole like communication error that happens. We're just not used to this, because you know how I send my music to a radio or something like that. I'll give them the link to whatever, and then they're gonna go figure it out because they have whatever. I don't know. I've never seriously needed, honestly, when working with live events, you have your USB with your like files and shit. But the second you're on like the internet dealing with internet shit, it's always just been like, yo, I send you my Spotify, I send you my YouTube, and that's what people want to click on to check me out. But I've also not really sent a lot of my files to people because like outside of like fucking like Willie Scandals with his like Kicking It live show, it was like, yo, where am I sending my shit?
Big up Willie Scandals, by the way.
He's been here the whole time. He But
Yeah.
yeah, so like for him, and he's like, "Fuck your YouTube link." I'm like, "Bro, just steal my music off of YouTube." He's like, "Fuck your YouTube link. Send me my shit." And I'm like, "Fuck, I'll steal my own music off of YouTube," because like I don't have all the files. I'm so grateful DistroKid
No, but you want to
lets
make
me
it.
download that shit.
You know what you want to do? You want to make it as easy as possible, right? So nobody had. And you know what's worse too, which I don't understand. How come artists don't like tag their music? Like, do you know how much track ones I have?
Okay, that one I do. I put Holden Stephan Roy name of file for everything because like shit. I know what you mean. we got a bunch of beats. We got a bunch of beats in, and like a lot of beat makers will name their beat the date of the beat. So my man's collected them all. He's DJing my Crossroads cipher, and he's like, "Bro, I couldn't tell you who did 07, 09, 14." I'm like, fair enough. I don't know.
Exactly. And you just have to make it easy for the DJ. Like,
Yo, Lemef said,
if you want to,
we just got.
That.
Lemef said you should drop a track one mixtape. Take all of your track ones and put them on a mix. Do like a mix.
It's crazy. Crazy.
Ah, it's hilarious. Yo, this is helpful, DJ Bobby Payne. This is the type of shit that everybody listening to. Yo,
I'm shocked you never heard of this before.
I don't talk to a lot of DJs. I talk to you, Bashment Booth, Don Smooth, and Preach.
Ah.
Preach is a rapper, like he's a different vibe. Don Smooth is more the radio guy, and he did the party thing and whatnot, and he did his story. But like, by the time I'm in the game, Don Smooth is like there, and I didn't even know he existed. I found out Don Smooth existed in 2020. That's when I found out Don Smooth was, because like. Yo, I'm in this whole scene where it's like people are throwing showcases. I'm not really that down for that vibe. I performed a bit in 2012. Then 2013 comes in this like shows. Now I'm in like freaking underground punk venues rapping over there because that's where I could perform. I couldn't get into this like, if you've ever like, I don't make like that traditional vibe of the hip hop scene that you would get. I would go perform my shit and people would just be like, stone ass staring at me like, what the fuck? I could rap, but like it wasn't the right vibe for what was happening at a lot of these shows I was at. So you end up kind of migrating where you're going to be able to find people, and then I just couldn't inevitably figure out a vibe, so I stopped like performing and just relied a lot more on the internet. And I realized I could get a lot more clout off of album reviews by 2016 than I could doing anything live in this city. I had just basically gone on this other path that kind of bypassed a lot of it because I was like, yo, how do I get my music out here? Everybody's talking about dollars. Look, I don't make the kind of money for payola. I'm just not there in my life. Like, I'm watching everybody that's a rapper fucking, yo, that's straight up. I did. Yo, straight up. I used to come to the fucking, yo, that was great. I thought that was you, DJ Magnanimous. I used to go to the shit at L'Escalier that they threw, the Big Bang Montreal. It was one of my favorite things because that was the only thing, by the way, I found that was lit like that, where I could go and motherfuckers aren't going to be like, bro, you can't fucking be here with your dorky ass shit. And I'm like, y'all told me to keep it real, right? Like, that was the whole so I'm not supposed to be doing all that other shit with my music because I'm not that. So it was weird to find a vibe that I could. So I really, really loved it. And then it kind of got less frequent, but I also started getting older. Like, at this point, I'm in my 30s and shit. And I'm like, okay, the internet is way more lucrative for somebody like me. Just, it's way more lucrative.
Oh, definitely.
The live scene is
no,
dope.
time is hope. Yeah.
But like, honestly, if
time has changed, definitely.
But even at like L'Escalier, right? Like, it was a good practice ground. But like, it's like, I don't know. It was like once a week on Wednesdays, if I could get people to go at that time. And then oftentimes I couldn't even stay till the end of the event because I got work the next day and shit. And so I hit this point too where there's literally nothing in this city that caters to people that have 9 a.m. start times. Like, that was my experience. If you start work at 9 a.m., go fuck yourself. You're not really allowed to come rap in this city. Oh, you're not willing to suffer and stay up all night? You care about your health? Fuck you. That was the actual feeling I got kind of talking to people. I spent 8 years telling people to start shows at 7. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've spent 8 years saying try this. You're the demographic of people that will come to the 7 to 11 show will buy your merch more. It's just facts. Argue with me. Anyone want to argue with me? All you want, but the 7 to 11 slot will sell more merch for a rapper. Facts. So if you're really in this for the business, look at where the $150 tickets for mega shows time slots 7 to 11. It is not necessarily forced to have to exclusively be a nightlife industry when half the rappers got work at 9 in the morning and can't even go participate in this. It can be a scene and a culture that transcends partying is what anyway, that's a whole side topic where I could go ranting on. That's the vibe I'm on. But it also comes from like, bro, I can't do the nightlife, but I'm still an artist in the city. So where the fuck do I go? Like, I can't do this nightlife. I lose money being up all night. So it's like, what do you do then? I mean, that's what happened to me. So at that point, you give up on that shit. You're not as invested, and you're like, well, I'm gonna go the way that. But that's how I ended up not talking to people and missing out. I'm not gonna say what I did is the smartest choices. I'm like 33 and not where I want to be. My life is not the example of shit, right? But like, nobody decided to jump on that 7 o'clock time slot. I went to one show I saw before COVID. It was by the dude who does Le Cypher. I can't remember his name. The Le Cypher dude. And it was this all-lady show related to Concordia or something. It was like 7 to 11 and the fucking thing was full. And I said, I told everybody. And then COVID came and we couldn't prove the point. I had a show booked too and I got canceled. So I was at the point where I threw my first event. And it was frustrating. Anyway, but we can go back to you for a second because I can talk for a while. But so with your event thing, right? What happens with your event company? So you start that, you become DJ Bobby Payne, and then what happens next for you? At that
it wasn't an event company.
Sorry. Sorry.
It wasn't an event company. It wasn't an event company. It was just a group, Digital Movements, and whatever. We weren't getting bookings as a collective anymore, you know. So I just said, you know what? Maybe I wanted to become I want to be a DJ by myself because I knew how to play. I knew what to play. I could talk the mic. You understand? So I felt like, hey, maybe I could do this by myself, you know? So I started with DJ Bobby Payne, and it just had a good ring to it. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna go with that name because I just didn't want to. Larrington Whisper was a little bit too hard, you know, and I just didn't want to. I didn't want to like come up with a, you know, DJ spin fast or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? So I figured, you know, DJ Bobby Payne had a nice ring to it. You know, I could probably, you know, make it a brand, you know? And I went with that.
That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Sorry, sometimes the chat pops up, and so you're multitasking when you're doing the interview thing.
No, yeah.
But basically, so you start.
Did you get my message?
I did.
I sent you a message.
I saw it, so I was like, all right. So that's why I was like, let's go back to this and like go through it real quick. So that's why I was asking. So basically, you run through the next decade. You basically throw in events, and
yeah. So Bobby Payne had a little journey by himself, where it was just his name on flyers, and he was just playing. He was building his name, building his rep, building momentum, and then like 2000. I guess 2015, 12, started putting digital movements back in the forefront, you know?
Right.
And we started throwing events, different type of events, painting events, skating events, bowling events. We were that we were always thinking outside the box because everybody does parties, you know. Everybody, it's the party scene is like oversaturated. It's always like, you know, especially those times, you know, there wasn't any smoking allowed them times, right?
Right.
I think like when did it come? When did it come into effect? Where there was no smoking.
'05. I started CEGEP that year. So my first semester of
Oh five.
CEG
Okay,
was when it ended.
so it was kind of dead around them times, right? So we just always thought about ways of getting people into parties without having that element, you know.
Right.
So we created like different events, like you know, skating parties, um, painting parties, and bowling parties, you know.
So basically, you thought outside the box and whatnot, and then you ran that for a minute. And just to let everyone know, Bobby Payne's got a low battery situation. That's why we're going into like a rush mode. So that's why the tone changed. No, it's all good. Just we would love to have you back, dude, and just like really run through it because your fucking brain is ridiculously cool, and your perceptions on a lot of rappers need to talk to a lot more DJs to understand how to make music that may be more accessible would be like where it is. So the more I've talked to DJs and producers, I've changed my entire art, like in my entire direction flipped, I swear. So like for me it would be a pleasure to do that. But while we still have you here, so you run through this with the digital movement, you bring it back to it in a kind of a bunch of innovative parties, and then at what point do you separate from them again, or do you stay with them?
It's actually I just felt like I needed to do my own thing. Sometimes when you're with a group of people and your ideas don't match theirs, you always feel like you're pulling them towards you, and it's always conflict because you see it one way, they see it another way. So I just felt like I needed to do me. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And build myself without having to build anybody else. You could maybe say, you know what? It's also just being a little bit selfish.
I mean,
you know?
That's a debatable point. Sometimes it's like, sometimes it's important to be selfish because, like, you're supposed to, in a sense, contribute, but at the same time, if you're not able to be the best version of yourself, then you can't even contribute to the level that you're supposed to contribute at. So
that's exactly it. If I can't be the best Bobby Payne within digital, I need to be the best Bobby Payne outside of digital.
And I don't think that's selfish, because at the end of the day, it just means other people and other things, and it doesn't even mean that y'all are on bad like terms or anything. It just means this is just a phase. Your life is not meant to be like super static. There's been a whole bunch of people that have come and gone that I podcasted with because for a minute it was right and then it wasn't right no more. Other people stick around, and like, thanks for the follow, Holy Shift 5 on DJ Magnanimous. Magnanimous. I missed that earlier. Yeah, like the more I do this kind of thing and I talk to people, everybody's lives are just influxes, transitions, relationships, moves. Like, you know what the number one killer of friendships is? Children. Children ruin friendships a lot more than anything else. Kids appear, all of a sudden your boy's not available. My man's moved to Toronto with his girlfriend. Boom, my man's is in Toronto. I'm not seeing him very often.
I don't think it's kids as much as girlfriends.
Yo, they're
You know?
different levels. They're different levels. The kids makes him. The kids really puts a responsibility on it. Where if you don't have kids, like myself, you're a little more reckless with life, and your parent
Oh,
friends
definitely.
are like, bro, I'm a parent with kids to consider, and I'm like, oh yeah, you are. I'm not. That's a very different life.
Yeah. But I mean, I find having children makes you hustle a little bit more, like harder. You know, makes you want it more.
I've heard that before. I don't know.
You know,
I mean,
because at the end of the day, now you have someone who's looking up to you, so
mm,
you have to be the best all the time. You know what I'm saying?
no, that makes sense actually. I mean, I never experienced it, so it's one of those things people say to me, and I do the best I can with that. And I'm like, I would love kids, but unfortunately, it's not fully my decision. And then nature also has a part of that decision. So then you can do the deed. It doesn't mean the
You
seed
just deal
plants.
with it.
Like
Yeah,
it's just like
yeah,
if it happens, it happens. If not, I currently don't have children, which puts me in this position and perspective in life. But I see all the differences in my peers in their 30s that have kids and versus myself. And bro, you're able to smoke 7 joints on an internet stream. I'm like, oh, you can't do that. You have kids. You gotta worry about what they see, and I don't. And I was like,
yeah,
just
yeah.
little things like that playing. But no, um, so after that, like, you basically are you doing your own solo events then after that situation?
Well, I mean, the world hasn't opened yet,
Mm.
but that's the plan. That is definitely the plan,
And for now, we just
and it's
catch
gonna
you
be
on
called. It's
Twitch.
gonna be called. It's gonna be called Pain Projects.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
So while the
yeah.
world is not opened, you're just gonna be spinning it on Twitch, bringing your crazy vibes and energies. I like your stream. I really do. I find your voice works. It's just fun. I end up like after because I raid you, but you have the time slot for my raids where like the synergy is just perfect, right? And I'm like, well, I'm gonna raid somebody from the fucking city, right? If I can. And then it's like, so I
I
hit you a
appreciate it,
bunch.
by
I
the
leave
way.
that
I
on.
really appreciate it.
It's
Yeah,
cool. It's really just like I feel like that's the whole community thing, right? Like that's all
yeah,
we can do. That's the thing that inspires me the most in all of this is watching the DJs and how they work together with the raid parties and the raid trains. And I'm like, rappers, just open Twitch. We can do the same thing. Oh
yep.
my
Real
god,
talk.
dude.
Real
Dude,
talk. Real
six
talk.
months later, Twitch is sending
Yeah.
DMCA emails saying, bro, the gravy train's ending. And I'm like, that's not great. So
No, but that's good for you guys. It's good for you guys because
all
you
of
guys
our
come up
own
with original
music,
content.
well, I mean, okay, look, we can
Yeah,
work around it now, but like, it makes it complicated to do some of the shit we could have been doing shit right now, like jacking industry beats and just rapping on them. And that's gonna, like, that kind of vibe is done in like 6 months max. So it's like, oh, guys, and then, I mean, to be fair, a few people have dibbled and dabbled, but it's like new tech in a world that is just craving live shows. And it's like, I mean, I'm convinced that Twitch is here to stay because there's still going to be people in places like rural Iowa that are going to vibe with what you're doing, regardless of
yeah,
Montreal. Montreal might not
yeah.
give a shit about my Twitch stream when it has things to do. Lots of people around
Yeah.
the world are still going to care about Montreal and what's
No,
happening here.
that's the thing with that's the thing with Twitch is it's worldwide, you know. So you could definitely find your tribe, you know, or your fan base or your supporters, I should say.
Yeah, that's facts. It is. I don't know how much percentage you have left. I don't know if you're like pushing
Yeah,
the end of it, but
yeah.
I know you got to go then. And but yo, I appreciate having you here. This is a great stream. I want to have you back again as soon as we can pull that off with the schedules and shit.
No, yeah, we'll definitely do it. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. It's just
Nah,
my life is just so hectic, and
you
you
doing
know,
your thing, man, and that's like not a bad thing to be out there doing your thing. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming through. Like I said, I mean, We'll set it up to have it again. Everybody make sure to follow DJ Bobby Payne that's watching in the future, because we appreciate you too. We also appreciate you too, Twitch chat. A whole bunch of you came through. You got love. More than 10 people. Psh, that's love in this city. So you got love. But thank y'all for being here for reals. But for all the people watching in the future on the YouTubes and all that shit, we got love for you as well, because that's the beautiful part of it. And yeah, definitely. Yeah, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that. I think we've lost Bobby Payne, or we are about to, just on the phone battery issues. So, yo, as we wrap up real quick, links are going to be in description for all of y'all. I see it just popped up in the chat, so they've been popping up. But a special thanks to the patrons. It's Milk MC, Chris Pratt, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black, Hurricane, Linda Williams, and Scribble to help support what we do. If you all up on the Twitch and, you know, you have the Amazon Prime, subscribe, all that crap. And otherwise, patreon.com/behindthatsuit. With that, it looks like we're going to raid Preach, and he went live. So we're going to do that. And live long and prosper, everyone.